it's Miss Carina. How you doing? I have a question for you. What's important to you? What's important to you right now, and how do you show that that is important? A friend of mine who's a teaching artist named Miss Meredith told me about a gratitude poem that she wrote, and it was her way of remembering all the things that are really important to her, and maybe paying tribute to the things and the people that she appreciates, especially at this time. I was thinking about how artists show what is important. How do artists emphasize what's most important in a picture? So emphasize is to give or show importance, and the few different ways that artists do that is by where the important thing is positioned in a picture. Maybe it's in the middle, maybe it's also really big, maybe there's a lot of what we call negative space around it, so that your attention is really going towards the most important thing. So you might notice behind me there's this artwork here by an artist named Enrique Flores. And Enrique is an artist in Oaxaca, Mexico, who I had a chance to study with. And his print here is of a woman with birds for her hair. And he's showing that she's really important by making her really big, and is right in the middle of his picture plane. So I also tried to emphasize that by putting in a larger frame, by putting a white border all around it, a matting, and then also a black frame around it so it's protected. So what we're going to do today is make a frame. So you're going to need some paper. Any size is okay. You'll need a ruler, a pencil with an eraser is helpful, and then something to color with. You can use crayons, markers. I like colored pencils because I feel like I can control how light or how dark the colors will be. And you can also use colored construction paper for this frame. If you do that, you're going to also need scissors and a glue stick. Now that we have all our materials, we are going to create a border around our main piece of paper. Now, if you're younger and don't have a lot of experience using a ruler, you might need an adult or somebody else to help you with this part, or you can skip it altogether. Basically, what we want to make sure is that we remember to keep the middle part open and free of any type of design, and that we're keeping our design to the edges. So I'm going to use a ruler to help me remember that. I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler so that it matches the edge of my paper. And then I'm going to draw a line on the other side. So now I've marked off this space, and I'm going to show you two different ways to decorate or design on the outside. Now, this first way to do it is called mosaic. Mosaic was traditionally done with tile and with something that's called grout. It's what helps keep the tile in place. But that might be hard for you to get a hold of right now, but we can get the same effect using papers, colored papers. So what I'm going to do is think about a design that can show pattern, something that repeats on both sides, and also something that's going to be symmetrical. So if you remember, pattern is something that repeats, And one kind of symmetry means that whatever happens on one side, the same thing happens on the other side. So you can think of your hands being symmetrical, a butterfly being symmetrical because the wings or my hands match up. Okay? So I think what I'll do, since I have this square post-it, I'm going to keep it a little bit simple. And I'm just going to cut this into smaller shapes. Because I want to design it like a mosaic, when I lay my pieces out, to make sure you can see it, I'm leaving some white space in between. I'm not putting it up right up against each other because then it just looks like a solid blue area. I want my design and my shapes to show, so I'm going to lay it out a little bit further than that. Okay. Now, if you like doing the mosaic, you can totally do the same thing on the other sides, making sure that you, one, do a pattern, so something that's going to repeat, and also that it's going to be the same on both sides. You could use a different color construction paper, you can use different shapes, but just make sure that when you're gluing things down, you're just staying within the borders. I'm actually going to show you a different technique in case you're interested in designing with pencil, colored pencil or markers instead. So now these two sides are really long, and sometimes I get really stressed out if I have too much space to work with. I feel like a lot of pressure saying, oh, what's a design I can do all the way through? What if I get bored with the design I started with? So I'm going to break up this area into smaller pieces just by drawing a big X. So I'm going to draw a line from one corner of that big rectangle to the opposite corner. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so that I end up with this long skinny X. So in this first triangle, I'm just going to do a series of lines. You could do whatever kind of lines you want, but I'm just going to do some curved lines, and then I'll see where it goes from there. I feel like I want to connect some of them, so it's almost like a shark's fin. So then I'm going to do the same thing on that side. But because I have these three other areas, I can do something completely different in this triangle, and this triangle, and this triangle. That gives me some permission to change my mind about the design. Maybe I want to use yellow instead over here. Maybe I want to do some swirly lines instead. Again, I have the freedom to do that. Just whatever I do on this side, I'm going to do on the opposite side. Here is my finished frame. Okay, so I've used the same principles of design, of symmetry and pattern on both sides, both on my mosaic and then also on my the part that I did with colored pencil. So now what? We've got this cool frame. What are we going to put in the middle? There are a couple different ways that you can show something special by using this frame. You can either write a poem on a separate piece of paper, cut it, and then glue it down to this page. You can write it directly onto here. If you want to be able to use this frame over and over again with different things in the middle, this is what you can do next. So we're going to cut out this middle space, and we're going to do that by folding our paper in half. Okay. And then I'm going to start cutting on this blank side here where the fold is. The important thing is I stop right where my design starts because I don't want to cut all the way through. Okay. And I'm going to go this way. Looks like a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So now I have this frame here, and I can put whatever it is that I want inside. What's going to go in your frame? Who are you going to show that's special to you or important to you? Who are you grateful for? I hope you can find a way to put them in your frame, either through your poetry or maybe by drawing a picture for them. But I want to thank you for joining me today and for making art with me. I really appreciate you trying something new and using your creativity to show people what's special to you and to spread some joy through your artwork. All right, see you next time. Bye.